When Shadow of the Erdtree introduced 100 new weapons into the game, Rellana's Twin Blades piqued my interest the most. It was not only a paired weapon and part of an entirely new weapon class, but dealt 3 types of damage and had one of the flashiest Ashes of War. Rellana's Twin Blades is a remembrance weapon. Defeat Rellana and bring her remembrance to Enya to get the blades. The moveset, while using both swords, mimics Rellana's unsurprisingly. The paired light attacks connect with both swords, dealing physical, fire, and magic damage. But this is far from our only option, as we can one-hand the blades to only use the magic right-hand sword with the base light greatsword moveset. Since I have experience using Milady and Lada's sword, there were a few fights where I did this, such as for some DLC bosses. With a blade in each hand, the L1 attacks hit with a left fire sword exclusively. The attack chain here is fastest of them all, and is great for building successive attack power, or sneaking in a hit or two in a tight attack window. The Ash of War, Moon and Fire stance gives us 2 options. The light follow-up is a ranged magical double sword beam attack. The beams don't cost too much FP, and being part of a stance Ash of War can be boosted with a couple useful talismans. There are 2 follow-up inputs for this part of the Ash for 5 total beams. However, I most often only used the first input. This build was intelligence-based, so I leaned mostly on this follow-up. The heavy follow-up is the fire option. Your Tarnished spins around, summoning a vortex of fire, with additional mesmer fire explosions erupting from the ground all around you. Anything that staggers easily makes a good target for this attack. While this follow-up did see use in my run, it does scale off Faith, so I defaulted to the light attack unless it was against an NPC enemy, or my target was weak to fire. I used 3 sorceries for the run. Carian Piercer is great for NPC fights, as it'll knock them on the ground. A Duelist Moonblade will inflict frostbite at a decent range, and Glintblade Phalanx was a nice spell for damage at range, though I didn't use this spell much in the playthrough, since the magic follow-up for the Ash of War is often the better option. There are 3 ways to build for this weapon: Quality for the moveset, Intelligence for the magic Ash of War, and Faith for the fire Ash of War. I went with Intelligence. Start each fight with a flask and the Ash of War stance. Holding said stance for more than a second gives us a boost from Rellana's cameo, powering up the first attack of the fight. The boss will inevitably close the distance and jump into melee range, which is when you want to boost up your successive attack power with R1s, L1s, or the one-handed moveset, whichever you feel most comfortable with. Instead of giving your enemy a break when they create distance, hit them with a quick magical beam attack for ranged damage and to maintain your poise damage. The most difficult part of this build was stamina management. The successive attack power boosting talismans encourage aggression, and Moon and Fire stance is stamina hungry, so you may want to hold off on the Ash of War follow-ups if that green bar is looking a little low. This is the 3rd and final light greatsword in the game, so I would like to know, of the 3, which is your favorite? I found Milady on my first playthrough of the DLC early on, so I have to name it my number 1, as cool as Rellana's Twin Blades may be. In this run, it was great to use a magical build again. I always try to vary which stats I focus on to add some variety for the playthroughs, so next week I'll either do dexterity or a strength build, since someone recommended the Giant Crusher to me. For more videos like this, every Friday at 5 PM Eastern Time, be sure to like and subscribe to TheJerseySide. The talismans for the build were the Shard of Alexander, for 15% more damage with the Ash of War, Rellana's cameo, for even more Ash of War damage if we hold the stance for 1 second, and Millicent's prosthesis with the Rotten Wing Sword insignia, for a boost to successive attack power and dexterity. I swapped out between 3 tiers through the run: the Opaline Hard tier to increase damage negation by 15%, the Bloodsucking Crack tier for 20% more damage with health drain, and the Magic Shroud and Crack tier for 20% more magic damage. I didn't use it, but the Thorny Cracked tier would work well for this build, since it is another boost to successive attack power. Our stats at RL170 were 60 Vigor, 20 Mind for the Ash of War, 30 Endurance, 33 Strength, 33 Dexterity, 50 Intelligence, and 16 Faith to meet the minimum requirements. That 33 dexterity was boosted up to 38 with Millicent's prosthesis. Rellana's Twin Blades make for a fun paired weapon. I recommend the intelligence route for the build for a mixed range and close quarters approach. The variety these 2 light greatswords offer is unrivaled.